Hello everyone.
Hi everybody.
Going to get this quickly out of the way before the kids get home from school.
Yeah, they'll be on their way very shortly. I don't know where the day's gone, love.
It's gone very quickly
Flying
today,
by, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got something in front of us here. It's a copy of, and it's already doing the rounds on Facebook and with other YouTubers out there. But it got us to thinking. And so what this is about is the latest letter that has come to all the bodies of elders, February the 2nd, 2014. And as a result of reading some of this stuff, it brought back lots of new memories for both myself and for Cora. And at the same time, we were looking at this document, and it actually is very worrying what I'm reading here and what Cora's been reading. And it makes us realise that this seems to be a religion that's becoming extremely worried about those that are waking up inside the kingdom halls, that are beginning to realise that this isn't everything it's meant to be. And of course, this type of wording in this letter really does show that they are trying to batten down the hatches, would be the right word, do you think?
Keep an eye on their flock.
Keep an eye on their flock.
I think because some of the reasons that we're sort of saying about the things that it's brought back to our minds, because basically the overall letter is talking about shepherding. But there's obviously a problem with that, a lack of shepherding. And I can tell you of so many experiences that I have as an individual sister within the organisation that shepherding is a very hit and miss thing. They only tend to do shepherding if there's something going wrong with that person. I mean, my previous marriage for 6 years, I can tell you now, we probably only had at the very most 2 shepherding calls through the entire time that I was married. So there's just one example, and it was only when we started going through problems that they started upping the ante. So I think you're going to read the letter, aren't you? Well,
I'm going to read part of the letter. Yeah. I think most people, if they want to find this letter, they can find it now on Facebook and through other YouTube videos that are being done on it. But there's one particular paragraph that really does, it's 2/3 of the way down, that really highlights, if you read it carefully and just listen to the words that they're instructing the elders to take forward now. And if all you elders that are secretly watching this in the future, if you haven't read this by now, then I'll be very surprised. And it says this, and I quote, in part, fair use, Watchtower by the way, okay? All elders, particularly group overseers, must strive to maintain regular, if at all possible, weekly contact with the publishers. Regular interaction with the brothers and sisters is very much needed. Regular interaction with the brothers is very much needed and can be accomplished by meaningful visits before and after congregation meetings. By working with them in the ministry and by visiting or telephoning them at other times. It includes contacting those who are sick, who are missing from the meetings, or who are irregular in the ministry. Okay, end of quote. So you can see from that they are looking to make sure that you visit them, you telephone them. If they're not at the meeting, you find out why. If they're irregular on the ministry, you find out why. You contact them before a meeting takes place. You contact them after a meeting has taken place. And that all of these additional, your monthly shepherding calls, as well as it's talking about here, which you should be doing according to this, it must be meaningful. Well, I'm sure if you're having your adult elder meetings, mature men coming together, the word meaningful will be probably examined in detail as to what that means. Because a meaningful discussion with someone is something where you get to the bottom of absolutely everything.
Yeah. And it comes from the heart as well. I mean, there was a few brothers within the congregation, different congregations that I've been in my entire life. There's always been a couple of elders that are very loving, and if they're the group overseers of the congregation of that particular group, they do tend to look after their ones they're in charge of quite well. But then you get the others that literally just like the title and can't be bothered with the workload that comes with that.
And that's what
because
we're
there is a
bring out.
massive workload, and I mean to look at that alone, the pressure that's putting on
Incredible.
Husbands as elders that have got families of their own.
Yeah.
They're not only having to look after their own families and make sure that they are kept up, you know, as a family, united as a spiritual family, but they're now having to increase their workload after meetings, evenings, weekends, all these different things when there should be time with their own families. They're now having to look after other people, and I just can't see this happening.
Well,
I really can't.
I mean, look at the pressure that it also puts on the wives.
That's what I mean. It's a massive thing.
To actually say to an elder now, if this is part of your spec, shall we say, your work spec of being a shepherd, an elder, you've really, every single one in your group, as group overseers, you've almost got to do a checklist, haven't you? Every name that's down in your group that you're responsible for needs to have meetings before and after, contact before and after a meeting. What, the 2-3 meetings a week? Ministry, phone calls on top of that, and the monthly shepherding call. They'll never be at home.
No. And that's what I mean. It's a massive pressure.
Yeah.
It really is.
It is a massive pressure.
But it brought back so many memories, because when I look at that, they're encouraging the elders to do more shepherding work. And basically they're saying that we don't feel you're doing enough. So there's obviously something going on in the background that's feeding back to the head people to say, look, I think this needs to be increased. Well, I can tell you straight off that through my whole experience of being a JW, shepherding was very hit and miss. And in fact, when I was a single sister with a baby and living back in this town, I obviously had my own little house, and I was in my own little house, and I used to hold the group study within my home. And I remember my group overseer used to love it, because he'd sit there, and I had a specific chair that he used to like sitting in, and you could see him sat there, looking over his array of people in the group, and as if I'm in control of everybody. He never came and did me a shepherding call. He never did anybody, as far as I'm aware, in the group, a shepherding call. It just wasn't in his nature to do that.
He wouldn't do that.
And I remember that when I had the group taken away from my home, I wasn't informed. I'll go into details as to why that happened, but I had the group taken away. I'd got home from work. I ran around the house. I had to get Charlotte ready. I had to get her, and she was only a baby at the time. And I had to get her ready. I had to organise myself. I had to organise the room, make sure all the chairs were out. I put the coffee on in the kitchen, and I sat there and I waited for the group to start arriving. And a few of them used to sort of arrive quite early, and they'd sit and have a chat first, and then everybody would start, piling in. But I sat there, this one particular group, and I was thinking, oh, everybody's late today. And I looked at the clock, and it was half an hour late. And it was 45 minutes late, and I said, this is ridiculous. Where is everybody? And then you start questioning yourself, thinking, is it an assembly this weekend?
Me? Have I got it wrong?
Have I got the day wrong? And you start questioning everything.
Yeah.
And I then realised that the group, that it was the right time, it was the right day, and I ended up ringing this particular elder up he wasn't actually home. So I thought, where is he then? So anyway, I left it a bit later. And I rang him again about an hour and a half after the group was meant to have finished. So you're looking at 9:30, roughly, I rang him. Yeah. And he answered the phone and he said, oh, it's been moved. Were you not informed?
Now, this is where we're going to do a series on these particular incidents because they're important too. Yeah. These are not attacks on these elders, and I want to make that absolutely clear. This is not us just getting back at elders. It isn't about that. But what it is about a religion that's controlling elders, controlling us as individuals, infringing on our expressions and freedoms to be able to get on as adults and do the things we need to do in our lives, but also the massive responsibility on an elder to get it right. And when they get it wrong, it's devastating for everybody concerned.
We're looking at the last video we did about control, and thinking back to that situation where this elder said, oh, it's been moved, were you not informed? well, first of all, who would have been supposedly the one to inform me? It should have been him. Not only had I not been told that it had been moved, but I also hadn't been told where it had been moved to, which meant I also missed the group that week. So there was a massive falling down of communication hugely, when all it would have been was a phone call to say it's been moved, these are the reasons why, can we come and see you, sister, we'd like to talk to you. None of that happened. It was just dropped. And do you know what my reaction was? Like a good little sheep. Was, oh, okay, brother, that's a shame. Oh, well, never mind. Maybe I misunderstood, or maybe I didn't get a phone call. You know, maybe I took the blame. I took it all on me, as if somehow it was my fault that I hadn't been told that this group had been moved. So effectively, control, in the sense of the way what I wanted to say was, well, why the hell didn't somebody tell me? But you don't do that. As a sister, you take it, you take it, you take it, you take it. And at the time, I was literally, yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full,
well,
sir.
you were being submissive.
I was being trodden on.
Yeah, you
and
were.
I couldn't even say, well, why the hell didn't anybody tell me? Do you realise what you've now put me through? I've been running around, I've just finished work, I came home, I got everything ready, I've put the kettle on, you know, I've got the coffee on as well, on the coffee machine.
But also...
Nobody cared
also,
about that.
No, they didn't.
So that's a lack of, when it comes to the little sheep in their little fold, little things like that don't mean anything.
It wasn't just, it was the way it exposed you to
everybody
an
looking as to
absolutely
why.
torrid, humiliating experience for this single woman who had a young baby, who opened up her home to a group study and then was totally humiliated, even to the point of not even having the decency of having a call sent to her to explain the reasons why, and we'll come on to that in one of the next postings as to why that happened.
Interesting. There was nothing even going on that was wrong, but that's the whole point. It's little things of control, and they control certain things to a massive degree, and you don't even realise that it is a control factor until you stand back and look at it like we are now and go, wow. Yeah,
and it's when you come out and you can actually look at it for what it is now. And we realise that as adults, even as consenting adults, all of us, we cannot be in control of our own lives. If the elders decide that they want to interfere with you, they will interfere with you.
Yeah.
And they will muck up and they will play with your emotions. They will upset you. They will destroy you if they feel that they want to. And those are the harsh facts. Why? Because we were there. Yeah. We went through this.
And it happened to us.
On a number of different occasions where they decided to punish us.
But it's still going on now.
Yeah.
So we will come on to another one of that as well. That it doesn't stop when you leave. In fact, it increases on another level.
And we've got evidence of that.
But at the end of the day, however they try and affect us, we might come across that we're feeling quite passionate about this, but it's because when you look back, you think, why did they do that? Yeah. And you get kind of inside, you get like if only I could, transport myself back in time and wait and shake my personal self up and go, if only you could hear what's happening.
Just to finish off on that.
Like behind glass.
Yeah, just to finish off on that, Cora and I were talking about this the other night. Yes, we will do a series of videos on this now, because these are the things that we should have said at the time. In hindsight, we look back and we think it's a wonderful thing, as they say, but there were things that we didn't say because we still had cult control in here. Yeah. But now, if we could transport ourselves back into those bodies back then, we would say very, very different things.
So in a way, by us saying this now, we're hopefully going to stop people out there being in exactly the same situation
and avoid it,
or actually look at the situation with more of an open view rather than like we were, blinded.
Sure.
And so having a little bit more information as to, this isn't the first time, this has happened before, this is the norm, the way they treat people, this is normal, and it's wrong, and it should be stopped, and it needs to be stopped now. And if we can help that by preventing someone else going through what we've been through in the past, then that's why we do these videos.
It's a protection for you out there, a protection for, if you can take something from this and think, well, I won't let that happen to me. I will protect my spirit. I will protect my emotional well-being from letting this happen to me. Then if you can pick up something from these videos, then great.
Anyway, we think the kids are going to come home any minute, so we're going to say goodbye for now, and hopefully we'll get a couple more videos as to our experiences with certain elders. We won't name them, but we might use initials. We're not sure yet.
Yeah.
See how we feel.
All right. Bye for
Anyway,
now.
take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.